You're being completely selfish, Emma. My mother's voice echoed through our family home. Your sister has a dream, and you're just sitting on all that money like some sort of miser. I stood in our kitchen, gripping the counter to steady myself as my entire family ganged up on me. My name is Emma Mitchell, and at 28, I was being vilified for refusing to empty my life savings to fund my younger sister Olivia's latest sure-thing business venture. It's not like that, I tried to explain, keeping my voice level. I've worked hard for my savings. I have plans. Plans? Olivia scoffed, her perfectly manicured hands gesturing wildly. What plans? Your boring little research job. This is a real opportunity, Emma. A luxury spa in the heart of downtown. Do you know how many celebrities I could attract? My father, usually the quiet one, stepped forward. Emma, be reasonable. Your sister has vision. She's always been the entrepreneurial one. You're stable. Steady. You can always save more money. Stable. Steady. The words felt like bullets. In our family, they were code for boring, unambitious. I'd heard them all my life, ever since Olivia started her first business selling makeovers in high school while I focused on my studies. I have $127,000 saved, I said quietly. Olivia wants all of it, every penny. It's an investment. Olivia protested. You be a partner. Think big for once in your life, Emma. I thought about how I'd accumulated that savings, living in a tiny apartment while working full-time through graduate school, taking extra research projects on weekends. Careful budgeting, no vacations, no splurges. Meanwhile, Olivia had bounced from one failed venture to another. The fashion boutique that lasted 6 months, the organic juice bar that closed in weeks, the influencer marketing agency that never signed a single client. Each time, my parents had poured money into her dreams, believing the next one would be her big break. No, I said firmly. I'm sorry, but I won't do it. The kitchen exploded. How can you be so cruel? My mother cried. After everything we've done for you, my father added. I knew you were jealous of me, Olivia spat, but this is low, even for you. I looked at them, really looked at them. My mother, who'd always pushed me to be more like your sister. My father, who'd never once asked about my research but attended every one of Olivia's pop-up shop openings. And Olivia, beautiful, charismatic Olivia, who'd never worked a real job in her life, but somehow always got everything she wanted. I'm not jealous, I said, my voice surprisingly calm. I'm done. I walked out of the kitchen, ignoring their calls and accusations. In my old bedroom, I grabbed the pre-packed bag I'd stashed there earlier. I'd known this confrontation was coming. Olivia had been dropping hints about her amazing business opportunity for weeks, and I'd seen the familiar pattern forming. Emma Grace Mitchell, don't you dare walk out that door. My mother shouted as I descended the stairs. I paused at the bottom, turning to face them one last time. You know what's funny? None of you ever asked what my plans were for that money. Not once. Because your plans probably involve more books and test tubes. Olivia sneered. Some of us want to make something of ourselves. I smiled, and for the first time, I felt pity rather than hurt. Goodbye, I said simply, and walked out. Behind me, I could hear my mother's dramatic sobs, my father's disappointed sighs, and Olivia's angry accusations. But as I got into my car and drove away from the house I'd grown up in, I felt lighter than I had in years. They had no idea that while Olivia was planning her luxury spa, I'd been preparing too. My research had caught the attention of a prestigious marine biology institute in California. I'd been offered a position leading their conservation program, studying and protecting endangered marine species. The salary was excellent, the work was meaningful, and best of all, it was 3,000 miles away from my family's expectations. My phone started buzzing immediately. Calls, texts, angry voicemails. I turned it off. They'd have to wait until tomorrow to hear my news. Tonight, I had a plane to catch. As I drove to the airport, I thought about the look on Olivia's face when she realized her usual tactics weren't working. For once, her tears and tantrums couldn't sway me. For once, I was choosing my own dream over hers. The California Institute had already arranged an apartment for me near the coast. By this time tomorrow, I'd be starting my new life. Let them call me boring. Let them call me selfish. I was done being the family ATM, done being the reliable one they only noticed when they needed something. My phone stayed off as I boarded the plane. Whatever messages they were leaving could wait. Right now, The Pacific was calling, and for the first time in my life, I was answering. 3 months passed in a blur of salty air, research vessels, and the most fulfilling work I'd ever done. My apartment overlooked the Pacific, and each morning I woke up to the sound of waves and seabirds rather than family drama. The first month, my phone was flooded with messages. My mother's voicemails ranged from hysterical, "How could you abandon your family like this?" to manipulative, "Your father's blood pressure is through the roof because of your selfishness." Olivia alternated between rage, "You've ruined everything," and desperate bargaining, "Just half the money then, 25%. I let them all go to voicemail. My work at the Institute was everything I dreamed of. We were studying a newly discovered species of seahorse, and my research was already gaining attention in the scientific community. My team respected me, valued my input, and never once called me boring or steady. Then came the article. I was reviewing data in my office when Dr. Martinez, the Institute's director, burst in waving a magazine. "Emma, have you seen this? National Geographic wants to feature our seahorse research. Your name's going to be on the cover." I stared at the mock-up she handed me. There it was, my name, my research, my dream come to life. The article would include substantial funding for our conservation efforts, and a 3-part documentary series was being discussed. That evening, as I sat on my balcony watching the sunset, my phone buzzed. It was my father's number. For the first time in 3 months, I answered. "Emma?" His voice sounded smaller than I remembered. We saw the magazine article. The preview online." "Yes," I kept my voice neutral. "Why didn't you tell us? About the research position, the Institute, all of it?" "You never asked, Dad. You were all too busy calling me selfish for not funding Olivia's spa." He was quiet for a moment. "The spa, it fell through. The location Olivia wanted, it turned out the building had major structural issues. The whole thing would have been a disaster. Like the boutique, and the juice bar, and the marketing agency." Another long pause. "Your mother wants to talk to you." I heard rustling, then my mother's voice. "Emma? Sweetheart? We saw you on the Institute's website. You look so happy." "I am happy, Mom. This is what I've always wanted to do." "But you never said anything." "I tried, many times. But you and Dad were always too busy with Olivia's latest venture to listen." I heard a sharp intake of breath. We didn't realize." "No, you didn't. And now I have to go. I have an early morning tomorrow. We're tracking a new pod of seahorses." "Emma, wait. Your sister, she's been struggling since you left. Nothing's going right for her. Maybe if you just talk to her." I cut her off. "No, Mom. I'm not Olivia's backup plan anymore. I have my own life now." After hanging up, I sat watching the waves, remembering all the times I tried to share my passion for marine biology with my family. The science fair projects they'd skipped because Olivia had a dance recital. The graduation ceremony they'd barely paid attention to because Olivia was launching her boutique that weekend. My phone buzzed again. A text from Olivia. "Saw your stupid fish article. Must be nice to waste your life playing with seahorses while your sister struggles. Real nice, Emma. Real nice." I smiled and typed back, "Actually, it is nice. Really nice." Then I blocked her number. The next morning, as I stood on the research vessel watching the sunrise over the Pacific, Dr. Martinez joined me. "Your sister called the Institute," she said casually. "Wanted to know if we had any real jobs available. Said she had lots of experience running businesses." I couldn't help but laugh. "And?" I told her we're fully staffed with qualified marine biologists. She didn't take it well. The sun broke through the clouds, casting golden light across the waves. Somewhere below us, our seahorses were swimming, unaware they were about to make scientific history. My history. "You know," Dr. Martinez added, "when we hired you, your family was listed as your emergency contact. Would you like to change that?" I thought about it for a moment, about all the emergencies in my life that my family had either caused or made worse. "Yes," I said firmly. "I would." As we prepared for another day of research, I felt the last weight of family obligation lift from my shoulders. I hadn't just found a new job or a new home. I'd found myself. And no amount of guilt trips or manipulative phone calls could take that away. My mother's words echoed in my head. "You look so happy." For once, she was right. I was happy, successful, and thriving. not despite ignoring their demands, but because of it. The seahorses were waiting, and this time, nothing would distract me from my dream. 6 months after the National Geographic article, I stood in my office at the Institute, staring at my phone in disbelief. 8 voicemails from my family, each more urgent than the last. I hadn't heard from them since blocking Olivia's number and changing my emergency contacts. The reason for their sudden reappearance? The documentary series about our seahorse research had aired its first episode last night. Apparently, seeing their boring daughter speaking confidently about marine conservation on national television had caused quite a stir back home. "Emma, darling," my mother's voice trilled through the first message. "You were absolutely brilliant. Why didn't you tell us you were going to be on TV?" The Hendersons next door saw it and called to congratulate us. The second was from my father. "Princess, we had no idea your work was so important. The university dean called me at the club to say how proud we must be." The remaining messages were from various relatives, all suddenly interested in my fascinating career. But it was the last voicemail that made me pause. "Olivia, calling from a new number." "M?" Her voice sounded different, smaller somehow. I watched your show. You looked really good on camera. Listen, I've been thinking, maybe we could talk. I have this new idea for an eco-friendly beauty line, and with your scientific background." I deleted the messages without responding. Through my office window, I could see our research vessels being prepared for today's expedition. We were tracking a previously unknown breeding pattern in our seahorse population, work that could revolutionize marine conservation efforts. Dr. Martinez knocked on my door, grinning. "Ready for more fame and fortune? The film crew's here for today's shoot." I grabbed my gear, laughing. As long as they don't scare away our seahorses. As we walked to the dock, she handed me an envelope. "Speaking of fame, the International Marine Biology Conference wants you to be their keynote speaker. Full expenses paid, plus an honorarium that would make your sister's spa dreams look like pocket change." I opened the envelope, my eyes widening at the figures. "This is incredible. You've earned it, Emma. Your research is changing the field." Though, she smirked, "your family might be disappointed to learn you're spending the honorarium on expanding our conservation program rather than funding another of your sister's schemes." Just then, my phone buzzed with a text from my mother. "Darling, we're thinking of visiting. Olivia has some wonderful ideas she'd love to discuss with you. Your father says your TV appearance could really help boost her new business plan." Some things never changed, but I had. I texted back, "Sorry, can't host visitors. Too busy with our new international conservation initiative. Feel free to watch episode 2 next week." Turning off my phone, I boarded the research vessel. The documentary crew was setting up their equipment as my team prepared our diving gear. Today's footage would show how our seahorse population had tripled since implementing my protection protocols. "Dr. Mitchell," the producer called out, "could you explain for the camera what inspired you to pursue marine biology?" I thought about all the times my family had dismissed my passion as a hobby, all the times they pushed me to be more like Olivia. I learned early on that the most beautiful things in life aren't always the most obvious, I said, looking into the camera. Sometimes the real treasures are hiding quietly underwater, waiting for someone steady enough, patient enough, to discover them. The producer smiled. "Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for." As we sailed out into the morning sun, I thought about how different my life was from what my family had envisioned for me. No luxury spa, no trendy business ventures, no desperate attempts to chase fame through shortcuts. Instead, I had earned every bit of my success through hard work, dedication, and the courage to walk away from toxic expectations. The quiet, steady daughter had made headlines not by following her sister's dreams, but by staying true to her own. My team called out. They'd spotted our seahorse pod. As I prepared to dive, I saw a small seahorse near the surface, its delicate fins moving steadily against the current. Like me, it didn't need to be flashy or dramatic to be extraordinary. It just needed to be exactly what it was meant to be. That evening, as the documentary crew packed up their equipment, Dr. Martinez showed me the rough footage. There I was, in my element, doing work that mattered. No drama, no schemes, no manipulative family dynamics, just pure, meaningful science. My phone had several missed calls from home, but I didn't bother checking them. My real family was here, in my dedicated research team, in the institute that valued my work, and in the quiet underwater world where being steady wasn't an insult, but a strength. Tomorrow, we dive again. The seahorses were waiting, and this time, everyone could see their beauty, including me. The steady daughter had finally found her spotlight, not by demanding it like Olivia would have, but by earning it one patient discovery at a time. And that was the greatest victory of all.